I come with a 2X sword and force to mash up the arena, mash up the arena, mash up the arena. I come with a 2X sword and force to mash up the arena.
What's happening, family? What's happening? Yes, welcome to the last episode in this series called Inner Battles. That is the final track on the Dark Season EP. If you listen to it at the bottom, you'll get a better idea of why I call it Inner Battles. I'm dealing more with my thoughts and emotions at this point. How I'm feeling, you know, this is one of those songs that honest people can relate to.
So obsessed with the money and the fame, dying to make a rep. We're not happy with our names. Get ourselves to a point, but in the end, it's all the same. Only a matter of time before the light reveals our shame. I'm gripped by the stage and the lights and the crowds, possessed by success. I can't wait, I want it now.
And I was trying to be honest with this one about my inner battles, my inner issues, what I had to deal with, my emotions, the way I was thinking. And the deeper it is, the harder it is to talk about certain things. When things hurt, the deeper it is, the harder it is to talk about. And I was finding it very hard to talk about certain things. So putting it on a song was actually much easier for me. In fact, the song itself was a very, very easy song to write. It wasn't hard because it was already all here anyway. So yeah, this song is just addressing how you feel when nothing's going right, how you feel when things get tough for you. Everyone has their own way of dealing with things, but I realized that it's something that I have to deal with, because when things get to a certain point for me, I tend to shut down in certain areas, and the part that I shut down in is more to do with acknowledging how I feel. When I feel a certain way, when I get angry, when I get unhappy, I can be a person who wears his heart on his sleeves, but that's just to a point. Once it reaches a point where it's just a lot, I tend to try to ignore those feelings and keep moving. But what happens next is I put on a mask and I become this pretentious weirdo. Like, people can tell there's something's off, but because it's so deep and so uncomfortable to talk about, that I just completely try and block the world away, or block the world out, which is not good. It's very unhealthy. And that's where I was with Inner Battles. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's depression, because depression is a very strong word, but I would say that it was a very, very low time. Inner Battles was the last track on this EP because it was really dealing with that mental and emotional bit, especially when you're someone like me. I was trying to build a future. I was trying to build a dream, a career, an ambition, and I was just trying to find the next step in the career I'm heading in, the lifestyle, how I'm trying to live. And there was a point where it was just nothing but closed doors. It was really hard to get through. You give a lot out, you know, let's say, you know, there's people on the other side of a dark cave, and you're trying to find your way to the other people in the dark cave, because that's where you should be. And you're screaming, hello, is anyone there? But then no one is screaming back when you know that they're there. That's how I feel. It's like I'm trying to give a lot out, but not much is coming back. I'm praying, but maybe my heart's gotten so hard and difficult that I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't get nothing, no signals. It was really just a dark place. It was a dark season with a lot of dark clouds, man. And my problem is, because I wear my heart on my sleeves for the most part, even when I don't want to be read, even when I don't want people to know how I feel, people tend to pick up on it, and it kind of takes the happiness out of the room. It's not even that I'm trying to be the dark cloud, it's that when I'm sorting my own stuff, that people pick up on it. Maybe I just have very empathic people around me, I don't know. But because people are empathic, it gets me to a point where I don't want to be analyzed. I don't like being analyzed. I don't like being read like a book if I don't want to be. I just want to be left alone when I'm in a certain situation. And to be honest, it's not a good place to be, because when you want to be left alone, that's a bad place, because if you're not careful, you could end up isolating yourself for a length of time that's unhealthy. It's good to isolate yourself sometimes, to relax, to wind down, to switch off. But after a certain extent of time, it becomes unhealthy. People actually go crazy when they're put in solitary confinement for too long. People go nuts when they're by themselves with no human interaction for too long. It's not natural. It's not supposed to be that way. And that's where I was headed, to that dark place where I didn't even want to come out of it, regardless of how long I've been in there. And that's what the Inner Battles track is about. It's really just to relate with anyone who is struggling or dealing with serious mental and emotional battles, when you're trying to overcome it, when you're trying to overlook it, when you're trying to deal with it, but it's getting harder and harder to deal with. Be very careful. It's just a word of warning to you. It's to relate and to let you know that you're not alone, to let you know that life can be tough when you're trying to build something, but And sometimes you feel misunderstood in it as well, which makes things much worse. You're screaming, they're not screaming back because they don't understand you, all sorts. But remember, everyone has inner battles. Some are worse than others, or sometimes are more intense than others. But it doesn't mean that you have to try and lift the burden. Find ways to alleviate it. Find ways to win your battle. Find ways to deal with it. If you can avoid unnecessary battles, that's even better. But that's what inner battles is about. The track is below this, below this video. Have a listen, check it out, have a look. If it's something that's for you, then great. There's a lot more where that came from and it's coming, but I just thought I'd do a series. Thank you very much for joining in. Hope you enjoyed it. Much love. You're blessed. I'm Unique Creation. Dark Season. Copy it if you don't have it, and spread the word. Though there's always someone that needs that kind of message.
So obsessed with the money and the fame, dying to make a rep. We're not happy with our names. Get ourselves to a point, but in the end, it's all the same. Only a matter of time before the light reveals our shame. I'm gripped by the stage and the lights and the crowds, possessed by success. I can't wait, I want it now.